Hello and welcome to another video. If you're new to this series, let me tell you how it works. I listen to albums throughout the week, some new ones, some older ones, and I pick the ones I want to give my opinion on and review them in this video. Remember, my opinion is mine and mine only. You may have a different opinion, so don't take anything I say too serious. So now let's head on to the first album of today's video. And the first album of today's video will be Partyland by Kee Nola. So the background for this album, as for any Kee Nola album, there is nothing I could find about this album. So now let's head on to the review of the album. So pretty much we are back with another Kee Nola album. If you watched last week's video, you may remember how I got very annoyed by his music, how I said the Chase the Dragon projects. He really isn't the best. And for this album, honestly, want me to be real with y'all? This shit is better than his Chase the Dragon series. I said it because wow, I was literally left in shock. Since this album wasn't part of the series that he normally locks in on, my opinions on this album were my expectations for this album were low. And wow, were they blown out the water. Production was something that you only get from him when it's on his Dragons albums. And how high quality they are, it was amazing. Flow was something out of this world. In my opinion, honestly, the flow he had, he could be compared to someone like Uzi Vert. And speaking about Uzi, I loved how on the song Molly Wonderland, he does mention both Uzi and Juice WRLD in a way where they naturally fit in with the lyrics. For the lyrics, and here are the examples, the lyrics being, I feel like Uzi Vert, all my friends are dead. And the world is on drugs, obviously talking about, Juice WRLD's album, World on Drugs, the one he did with Future. And I don't know where this Kee Nola has been hiding at, but I hope that for the next album that we're going to go over, he stays like this because when he locks in, he can do incredible stuff. And this is the Kee Nola I love to glaze. This is the Kee Nola who I add his songs to my playlist. Anyways, my standout songs from this album are obviously Molly Wonderland, Next Best Friend, Apologies, and Party Girl. I also did want to add that if you hear a lot of noises in the background, it's because there's people over at my house right now and they're being very, very loud for no reason. And up next is S.A.D by Kee Nola as well. The final Kee Nola album we will be reviewing for, until he releases a new album. And as usual for this guy, there is absolutely nothing for backstory. Nothing on TikTok. Absolutely nada, nothing. For the review, I'm gonna keep this one nice, short, and sweet. I didn't really enjoy this album. It's for sure a decrease from music quality from the last album we just went through. This album felt like he had no spark, like he was just spitting out words that made no sense. He had something in the beginning, like I saw an image, but I don't know, it really fell through. It seemed like he either gave up halfway through or he forgot what he was going with because the album just loses all of it. So I would say just skip this album and just wait till his next album comes out. Maybe it's Chase the Dragons Part 3. Maybe it's Partyland 2. I don't know. This album was not it. And that's it. There's not even a standout song for this. This entire album was just not it for me. And the next album is Sucker by Charlie XCX. So the backstory of this album, after the release of her first album, it was a highly received album, but it didn't really manage to start in any major market. She made this album as she wanted to make an album for girls to feel empowered. This album would still be a pop album, but it would have some like girl power feel to it, if you know what I mean. And all the info I found was on Wikipedia. So my review. An album made for girls is what this album was meant to be. The entire time, the beats were all upbeat and fun. From beats that made it sound like we were at a club to 8-bit beats, 8-bit beats, all in one album. And most of the lyrics, he was talking about stuff that she's a rebellious girl. Obviously, one of the more popular songs on this album being "Break the Rules." I don't want to go to school. I just want to break the rules. And she was just singing to the world, giving zero fucks about every single song that she said, and it was loud. And I mean that in a very good way. She was loud. She was happy. Showing to the world that this is her. And if I were a girl, this album would have me feeling empowered. But since I'm a guy at the end of the day, I still feel empowered. Who the fuck is stopping me from feeling otherwise, And not to forget, like I did last time, the Rita Ora's feature on Doing It was pure perfection. And the way that she added more to the song and having them go back and forth with the beat switching up a little bit for each of them, it was perfect. And to end off, like every other review, my standout songs are Break the Rules, Boom Clap, Body of My Own, Famous, and Die Tonight. Up next is Number One Angel by Charlie XCX. Background of the album. Charlie said in an interview with Rolling Stone that she wants to release a mixtape before her next album, and that mixtape would be sadder than her previous album. This mixtape had to be delayed due to her recording it without the permission of her label, which led to frustrations and the mixtape having to be held back until its eventual release date. Information found on Wikipedia. On to my review. Before we get into my review, I know that this is a mixtape, but I use Apple Music and they had this under the albums category. So that's my loophole. So let's get on to review now. I didn't really feel this mixtape, if I'm honest with you. By no means am I saying it's bad. I just didn't feel anything. The production and beats were all good. And I know that I sound repetitive, but I just didn't have any feelings of this album. You know, everything, at least for me, it just felt like an okay album at best. Mixtape, whatever. I know I should be able to explain why, but it's one of those feelings that you just really can't explain. And well, this is one of those. You know, sometimes when you feel something about someone, but you can't explain it, you can explain why you feel like that. That's how I feel about this album. And like I said, this mixtape by no means is horrible. People will for sure love this if you go listen to this. I just don't know why, but I just have a feeling that I cannot explain about this album. I will say though, I did love the cupcake feature on lip gloss, as it was one of the few things that managed to get my full attention throughout the entirety of the mixtape. And my standout songs are obviously gonna be "Blame It on You," "I Love You Too," and "Lip Gloss." Up next is "Control" by SZA. The background of this album: while meeting top people from Top Dog Entertainment label, one of her friends passed them some early SZA songs, which later led him to staying in touch with her. About 2 years later, after they met, the label announced that they were going to be signing two new artists to their label, and one of them ended up being SZA. After the signing, it allowed her to work on her debut album, which ended up being delayed for a little bit, which SZA later blamed on her album for all the delays. She eventually did leave the label, and after she did leave, a little bit after, she finally did drop the album in 2017. Info found on Wikipedia. So for the review of the album, for her debut album that her fans had to wait an extra year for, how did it hold up for them? Well, SZA's Control makes you feel as if she's talking to a current or former lover. At least that's how it felt for me. As in the start with the first song, duh. It leads us to a nice calm beat, which makes you feel all relaxed and puts you in a chill mood. When we move on to the next two songs, it's a mix. Oh my gosh, I messed up my reading. Oh my gosh, I'm frozen, I'm still here, I just froze. When we move on to the next two songs, it's a mix as on Love Galore, her and Travis Scott are talking back and forth on this song about love, but then when we head on to Doves in the Wild, and I and this one didn't really land as well as the previous one, and I didn't really love this song. But it could also be me not liking Kendrick Lamar as well. Then we get onto a royal feel in the song Drew Barrymore. As we led on to the next couple of songs, she went from talk. It feels like she went from talking to begging. After that, we had a span of three songs, which were good, but they felt like filler songs, as they didn't really follow along with how she set this album up. Then we eventually get into Anything, where she is starting to question herself and not sure what she's going to do. Then after then after the span of another two filler type songs, we get to Pretty Little Birds, where she was asking those questions again, and then Isaiah Rashad was answering her questions that she had about trust and love. Then in 20 something, she states stuff she hopes will happen in her 20s, like life goals and similar things to that. Finally, in the last couple of songs on the album, she came to an acceptance. As well in these songs, we went from a calmer beat to more upbeat, not too much in your face beats. This album was very good for a debut album, and she took us on a story about her questioning things to finally come into an acceptance and being able to move on. And finally, my standout songs are Normal Girl, Tread Carefully, Awkward, and Jordy. Up next is The Lost Files by Ski Mask, the Slump God. Backstory of the album: the main reason for Ski Mask dropping this album was to make some of his SoundCloud era songs that were stuck under clearance to finally be available to be streamed on all streaming platforms. Info found on genius.com. Review. Now we had The Lost Files by Ski Mask. So yes, this one is for sure not an album, but like my little loophole is every single time Apple has it on their album, so I will review it for real. This project was amazing. It's cool to see what Ski Mask was doing back during his prime SoundCloud days, and to see that he still has some similar energy in some of his newer projects. It's amazing to see the loud in your face beats to no caring lyrics that he makes sure you hear them because he is very loud. And it's not in a bad way. All the features were amazing in my opinion, but the feature that had the best feature in the entire album obviously goes to the man, the myth, XXX Tentacion, XXX Temptation, however it is that you say it. I think it's Tentacion. I don't know why I think it's Temptation, but I'm just saying both just to be safe. And to end off my review, my standout songs are I Watch Them Drown, Applesauce, SOMD Remix, Nationwide, and Fatality. One thing for this album that I did not write down is what's it called? By what I meant by his okay. So by what I meant by SoundCloud Prime Days is pretty much I've never heard any Ski Mask SoundCloud era song. It's not like for some other artists who have listened to their SoundCloud stuff. For Ski Mask, I never heard anything with SoundCloud. So for me, it was very cool to hear them for the very first time to see what he was during that time. I know that for other people, this album was probably a waste for them, but I really enjoyed it. This was a very good album, mixtape, compilation, whatever it is you want to call it. And the final album for today's video will be Don't Be Dumb by A$AP Rocky. So the backstory of this album, after what felt like for years, because it was years, A$AP finally is dropping Don't Be Dumb. This album was supposed to drop in August of 2024, but it kept on getting delayed, and many fans thought that this album was just a myth, and something that we would never get. And starting to being compared like Frank Ocean due to never dropping. It wasn't until December of 2025, December 16th of 2025, when Rocky finally gave us the album cover, is when we all felt joy as we knew that the album was coming out. And today, or at least today when I wrote the script, the album finally did come out. Info found on Wikipedia. Review. And here we go. Don't Be Dumb by A$AP Rocky. Was it worth the wait, you're wondering? And well, I had to wait an extra hour because these dumb fucks at Apple Music decided to crash. So this album wasn't available until 1 in the morning my time. Of course, if you're anywhere else in the country, sure, I'd be a little bit annoyed that Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, it's fucking TikTok, Instagram all had the album when it was supposed to drop. But fine, we'll let it slide, we'll let Apple Music slide, because yeah, Apple Music always crashes. Anyways, yes, it was worth the 8-year wait. Order of Protection was a perfect start as it was on the calmer side, taking on a slow start into the album. Then we head on to the next couple of songs, which all had a mixture of upbeat beats, and many of the songs had beat switches that were all perfect. And many of these beats were in your face, and it wasn't following like a same beat structure like many other albums do. And on the songs Stay Here for Life and Player, I don't know who the features are as of yet, but they were perfect and fit into their spots perfectly. Stop Snitching had an incredible beat with a siren type sound in the background. Shut the fuck up. Even though I don't plan to hear it again anytime soon, it was still very good. As you can tell, it was an experimental song with a punkish screamo type beat to it. And for Air Force, I have one question. Was that Frank Ocean I heard? And if it is, what does it mean by it's good to be back? Or at least that's what I heard in the lyrics. I swear, if that's Frank Ocean, and I need to check the lyrics if they're up on Apple Music yet. But I swear, if that was Frank, I swear I heard him say it's good to be back. Does that mean he's dropping something? Does that mean we're finally getting another Frank Ocean album? Hell nah, the fuck? Who do you think this is? Fucking NBA Youngboy dropping an album every 2 days? Hell nah. Anyways, then on the song Whiskey, we have Westside Gun doing Westside Gun things. And if you don't know what I mean by that, then, well, that's on you, if anything. That song was very good. I just do wish that, he did have an actual verse instead of just doing his casual stuff. But hey, still West Gun feature. It was still good. The song was still very good, if anything. And on the song Robbery, I do love the jazz vibe. Man, I really do like it. I really do like what he was trying to do there. But I just feel like Doechii could have had just different lyrics set, man. I'm not saying Doechii was bad. I'm not saying he was out of place. And I do get that the point of this album is to be out of the place. But I don't know. I didn't really enjoy Doechii's side of the lyrics on that. A$AP's were okay. And then we head on to Don't Be Dumb / Don't Trip. And that was a perfect double song. And I'm not going to lie, I was expecting Tyler, the Creator, to be on this song. I don't know what song it is that he was featured on as of yet. All right. But I was expecting him to be on this one because Heller's known for doing double songs. He started in Igor, he started in Flower Boy. He did it in Don't Tap the Glass, and he's done in his other albums. The only one he didn't do it in was in Chromacopia. And, I was expecting to be on this one, but he wasn't. That doesn't mean anything. This song was still very, very good. One of the best songs in the entire project. And, the final song called, well, The End, I really loved it because he was talking about current world, world problems, asking stuff, wondering if, this is the end. And I really loved the eerie background it gave us. It was a very, very nice song. And anyways, to finish off, you know, I will admit this review was a little bit all out of the place, but that's the point. This album was all over the place, so I tried my best to make this review be all over the place. And to finish off, my standout songs are "Order of Protection," "Helicopter," "Stole Your Flow," "Playa," "No Transportation." I fucked it up. I wanted to be fast. Here, let's do it again. My standout songs are "Order of Protection," "Helicopter," "Stole Your Flow," "Player," "No Trespassing," "Stop Snitching," "Punk Rocky," "Air Force," "Whiskey," and "Don't Be Dumb" / "Don't Trip." And up next, everyone's favorite part in every single video, standout albums of the week. And who is going to be the one to receive the first nomination? So who is going to be the standout album #1 of this week? And that goes to "Partyland" by Kee Nola. Yes, he has finally gotten a standout album of the week after many, many, only two potential stand-up albums of the week, and both of the Chase the Dragons. He finally got it here with Partyland. So the main reason he actually got it is he did beat out another album, which will not be mentioned because at the time I am no longer doing potential stand-up albums of the week. It is only those who are standouts who get this extra attention. But he not only did he barely beat it out, but in my opinion, this was better, because the other artists, they're still going to be getting more reviews, so they will definitely have a chance to get a standout album of the week then. And the other reason he got it is due to how good this album was. I was shocked by how good it was. Unlike Chase the Dragon Part 2, I was already expecting something good because I know that's when he does his best work. So, Partyland caught me by surprise about how good it was. Production was great, quality was great, flow was great, lyrics were great. He had something for this album. Bills had to be paid. He went to credit card debt. He went to gambling debt. I don't know what happened when he was making this album. This is the Kee Nola we need every single time. This is the Kee Nola who I will glaze until time. Until as long as it takes, if Kee Nola can just continue making albums as good as this Chase the Dragon stuff and as good as Partyland, this guy will be great. He will be set, but no, he's too busy worried trying to sound like Juice WRLD. And now, moving on to the second album. The second album to receive standout album of the week goes to. Are you dumb? Yeah, no shit. Don't be dumb. The fuck. Who else would be getting it? Who else would be getting standout album of the week? It goes to, of course, "Don't Be Dumb" by A$AP Rocky. Why do I have to explain myself? 8-year wait, an amazing album. It is currently #1 all over the world. Who hasn't heard this album yet? This album was amazing. It was for sure worth staying up to 1 in the morning. Heck, I didn't go to sleep till 3 in the morning because, having to write down my review, having to write down the script for the review, obviously listening to the album, the couple times. This album was great. It was perfect in every means. A$AP did great. My only thing is, please, I don't know if this was on A$AP ends. I'm for sure this was on Apple's end because Apple does this every time, but if there's always a small chance it could be an A$AP's team where they could be the reason the album released late on Apple Music. I'm going that it's on Apple Music's fault because no chance in hell he released it on Amazon Music over Apple Music. But that's besides the point. This album was great. I love that he went experimental. I love that he tried all this different stuff. Like I said, the one he did with Dolce, if she had different lyrics, that song would have been beautiful. I'm not even saying get rid of Dolce. I think she was perfect. I think she was perfect for that role. Because they're doing like this detective stuff that they're trying to do for that song. It's just I wish that she had different lyrics. Because at least for me, those lyrics were not it. And this album was great. Worth the 8-year wait. I can't wait to get the record in mail. It's already on its way. That's great. If you haven't for some reason heard this album, what are you doing? Stop watching this video. Actually, stop watching this video and go watch it. But yeah, those are my standout albums of the week. "Partyland" by Kee Nola and "Don't Be Dumb" by A$AP Rocky. And it's time for my favorite part in these videos, Yap Time. So Yap Time won't be that long because I did edit this video. But pretty much, there's not much for me really to say. I just want to quickly talk about the NFL playoffs. The Bills will never win a Super Bowl. Never in their history. I want you guys to get that in your head. If you're a Bills fan, you will never see Super Bowl in your lifetime, in your next life. This team will be the only team. I think every single team will win the Super Bowl before the Bills can even smell it again. They are the worst Super Bowl team ever. In case you couldn't tell, I had money on the Bills, and then obviously being a Raiders fan, I do hate the Broncos. And it was such a Broncos game too, because of course they edged it out and had to win on a fucking field goal. Or did they get the touchdown? I don't know. Bills lost is all I know. Right now it is Seahawks at Niners. No. Niners at Seahawks. And Seahawks are destroying them at the moment, and they'll probably win. I also have money on the Seahawks. I'm showing both of my predictions at somewhere. Right. And then tomorrow we have what? I think it's Houston at Patriots and then Rams at Chicago. I have shit. I think damn, I don't know. Okay, Rams are beating the Chicago. I think the only way Chicago wins is if they take advantage of how cold it's gonna be tomorrow. But that Houston Patriots game, give me the Patriots. I just feel like they'll be able to perform better. I don't know. Give me the Patriots. But yeah, that's it for Yap Time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Fuck the Bills. You guys lost me money. Broncos will lose next week, and hopefully the Niners lose tonight. Anyways, I love you guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you all whenever I see you all again. Bye.